Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very interesting review impressions of a knife in our pass around, our Apex group. This is the Black Star Designs called the Apex Arc. This is a cool little knife. This is in titanium scales, full titanium scales with CPM 154 blade steel, a hollow grind, kind of a reverse tanto, I guess you could call it, maybe a modified Wharncliffe, I don't know. To me it looks more like a reverse tanto, modified Wharncliffe, whatever you want to call it, it's fine with me. But pretty cool design, got pretty nice action. So let's talk a little bit about it. The name of the knife is the Apex Arc. It is by Black Star Designs. That's who's the manufacturer. Well, I don't know who's the manufacturer of it. I'm not sure who exactly did the work, the OEM work, but it's a pretty cool little knife. Definitely, definitely Chinese made. I don't think this is USA made. No, but a really cool, not bad knife at all. I don't know if this is your cup of tea or not, but we'll talk about it. All right, the handle and liner material. So there's no liner. It's all titanium scales, and we've got some steel standoffs. I believe those are steel standoffs. Let's take a look. Yeah, those are steel standoff. Got steel deep pocket carry clip. It is not reversible, it's right hand tip up only. It is a frame lock. It does have a steel bar insert with an over travel stop. Everything is nicely chamfered all the way around on the scales, which is nice, very comfortable. Has a nice cutaway to the lock bar, great access there, easy to get to, very comfortable, and the action is really great. It's on cage ceramic ball bearings. The blade steel is, like I said already, CPM 154, and that runs very smoothly through there. So really cool. I like the hollow grind. I really like the hollow grind. Comes with a nice thin sharp edge, which is nice. Got a nice pokey tip, but it's got some robustness to it. So definitely a good workhorse. This is not a super thin blade, but it comes to a very thin edge. So that combination makes it great. I've got large hands, plenty of room here for extra large, double extra large for sure. Can definitely reach around and get a good grip. I like the clip. It's rounded everywhere, no sharp edges, so there's no hot spots I can squeeze down. There's not really any choke up here, so this is gonna, if you're gonna choke up, this is about best you're gonna do. There is jimping on the spine of the blade, and it's pretty, it's not super aggressive. It does give you some traction. It's not super grippy, but it's there. It's enough that if you push hard enough, you might have some traction, especially with some gloves, I guess. You could do some, precision cut with the tip there. If you can hear the thunder in the background, we're about to get some rain. Hopefully I can finish this before we lose electricity or something. But anyways, really cool. I like the roundedness here. It's very comfortable in the hand. Does have a nice little cutaway, so you're definitely comfortable on here. You can definitely get a good grip on it, which is great. I think that's fantastic. Let's see here, what else? The opening and closing, the flipper works really nice. The push button or even light switch works really well. It's hard to fail. It really is hard to fail. Yeah, it really is hard to fail. You're going to have a good chance of success. You can do the push button, you can do a light switch. There's no other means of deployment. It's going to be a flipper only, so if you like flipper onlys, you're going to love this. If you want multiple deployment methods, you might be a little disappointed. Just something to keep in mind, right? The closing action is great. The lock bar, like I said, it's already really nice and cut away, drops beautifully. The action is wonderful. There's no blade rock. It's in there nice and solid. Let's feel it going in on the detent. Nice click. You can hear that again. Let me do that one more time. One more time, so get it nice and close. Nice click. No detent lash. It's in there really solid. It's dead nut center, so that's great. Really wonderful. A lot of little things that are pretty cool. Let's get into some measurements here real quick and measure the weight of this knife. All right, what do we got here? All right, so ounces, let's go ahead and measure that. We're at 5.04 ounces. So, it's not a super light knife, but it's not a super heavy knife. 5.04 ounces. We are looking at a knife that's about 7 3/4 of an inch, so it's almost a full-size knife, just under that. It's not definitely a small knife, it's not a giant knife. I would call it close to a full-size knife. It might be a good medium-sized knife, a large, medium-sized, small, full-size knife, whatever you want to call it. All right, handle, the total area that you have for holding, it's definitely about 4 1/8 of an inch, so definitely over 4 inches. You definitely got a lot of room there from the tip of the blade to the top of the thing, to the top of the handles, I would say is about 3.5 inches, maybe a little less than 3.5 inches. The overall cutting length on the blade is going to be 3 1/4 inch, a little under 3 1/4 inches. It's going to be about 3 1/8 of an inch cutting length. So that's your overall cutting length. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the blade stock thickness. All righty. So we just lost power, and we'll have to edit that out. All right, blade stock thickness, let's come back to that. So blade stock thickness, we'll come back to that real quick and put that back on here, and let's go ahead and measure that real quick. We'll keep going with the video. All right, so 162 thousandths of an inch, so 0.162, definitely between 1/10 and 2/10 of an inch, but closer to 2/10. So it's a pretty thick, robust blade with a great hollow grind. So that's really stocky but thin. So it could be a good slicer, but it is going to be thick. So once you get through there, you're going to have to deal with the thickness of the blade. There's no swedge for any sort of turning of that cut. Just keep that in mind, for better or for worse. So that is the case. Now, is this a budget knife? It is definitely, it's not a budget knife, it's a regular knife. So with 154 cm, this is, and the titanium fully milled. You can see a lot of milling there. It's really nice cutout, so a lot of weight relief. This is a $200 knife for a pre-order you can get. And I'll have the link down below. I believe it's from Ace Collaborative. That's where you can get the knife right now, doing the pre-order. But it is very, it feels light in the hand because of, how it is. It's very well balanced. I would say right there in the middle, right where your finger goes, is really well balanced. So it's going to feel not as heavy, which is kind of cool. All right. So it's something to keep in mind with. All right. Then we're also going to talk a little bit about, it's a regular knife, and the purpose, EDC, definitely EDC for sure. With the frame lock, it's going to be hard use, absolutely, for a frame lock. It's not a fixed blade. It's not an axe. So if you're going to go bushwhacking, I recommend a fixed blade or an axe. Is it a collection piece? It could be. If you like this type of knife and the design, it definitely, you can consider it a collection piece, certainly. I think it's just a nice knife. I don't really consider it a collection piece, but I mean, anything can be a collection piece to you, but for me, it's not a collection piece. Ergonomics and feel are great, really comfortable. It fits a lot of the ergonomics really, really well, and I think you're gonna like that. That's really, really nice. So the ergonomics are really great. The design, the thumb stud, everything is great. It's beautiful jimping, by the way, noticed on the flipper, and the flipper has a really nice angle for it. It's just a solid flip, so that's great. The action, dropping the lock bar closes really, really great. So the opening and closing is just wonderful. For flipper only, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. It definitely has, and especially when you consider here's the pivot point and the flippers below it, it's kind of surprising how much leverage it actually does get. So sometimes when you have a flipper that's low like that, you don't get that same amount of leverage, and this one you do. I don't know if it's just the detent working together, getting enough, stored up static energy to break and get that kinetic energy, and then it just breaks through free and it goes really well. I don't know, but it works. Fidget factor. This is going to be a 3 out of 10. It's not a much higher because it's a flipper only. There's no other means to deploy this. Can't get enough grip on here to do a kind of middle finger flick, so this is a flipper only. You can only flipper it open, so that's kind of what you're dealing with at this point, okay? So, that's the only way to kind of get there. All right, so I'm back. So trying to do the fidgety goodness, I would definitely give this, as far as fidgety goodness, a good, I'm going to say, as far as flipping, it's pretty good. So I'm going to give it a good 85 to 90. So a B plus to an A minus. It's very good. It's not like a super duper, Chavez Redition or 229 or, like a Herman Sting, or anything like that. It's really good, though. For a $200 knife, I think it's great. So as far as that, overall thoughts, is it recommended? Well, it's cool. It's got a lot of aesthetic. I'm not going to recommend against it. I'm not going to say, oh, this is terrible, I don't like it. I'm totally, it's not going to be in my recommended list. Okay. It's a good knife. If you like the aesthetics, I think it works. If you're okay paying $200 for a knife like this for the pre-order, I think it works. I mean, 154 cm and titanium scales with a steel clip, which is nicely recessed, by the way, and they've did a really good job. It's not bad, but I mean, could you do better? Yeah, I think you could. I really do. I think there could be a lot better than a lot of these things. So my overall thoughts on this one, it's not bad. It's exciting. Sorry, a lot of lights are beeping and stuff because we've lost power a few times here. I'm trying to finish this review up while we have electricity, but I will say, that is a little disappointing. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as the scale, as far as the clip and everything, those are all things to consider. I think it's cool. I think it's really nice action. I don't hate it or anything like that, for sure. I just don't know if this is something that I'd be willing to spend $200 in. So therefore, it's not going to be in my recommended list, right? It's not one of those I'm like, ooh, go out and get it. I love it. But if you love the aesthetics, go for it. I'm not against it, okay? It's not bad. I think it's a matter of, sometimes you find a knife that you just love and you love the way it looks, and maybe other people don't, and that's okay. And so go for it. I think it's a good quality knife. It's well built. It's got a lot. Okay, we're back. So those are my thoughts before I got interrupted. I think you go for it, get it if it's something that speaks to you aesthetically and you like it. But if it doesn't, then it's up to you, right? So, hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, entertaining, or informative, would you please consider liking the video? If you've already liked the video, please consider hitting the subscribe button as well. Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel, allows the channel grow, produce more content, do more things, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you've done all of that, maybe consider hitting the notification button so you can be notified of future content. And if you haven't already, check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye. Sorry for all the beeping and the lights. A lot of power loss here.